Hello, everybody. Welcome. My guests today are Hannah and Scot Violette from Squatch America. I'm so happy to have you two join me. This is awesome. I was, I guess, not introduced to, but introduced the concept of what you two have going on by Mike Scott, who met you, I believe it was maybe a year ago. And do you all remember that? Was in Texas, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
In New Mexico.
In New Mexico. Okay, that's right.
We were at the pistachio place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he took a picture of your setup, your truck, and he said, "Wow, look, check this out." We were like, "Oh, wow!" And I'm like, I'd love to talk to them. So I'm so happy to be able to do that. I want to say hi to some of our lovely guests and moderators. Hi, Lorna Nicole. Hi, Laurie Sue. Hello, Susan F. Thanks so much for being here with us. We know that you guys, everybody has busy lives, and we're just glad. And if there's anybody watching through Facebook or through my YouTube channel, if you want to just send me a comment and say hello, because I can't always see those. But anyway, but welcome everybody. So let's get into Hannah and Scott. Could you just give me a brief introduction about what you do, your situation,
our gig.
Our gig.
Yeah, your gig. I love that.
Well, what it is a hobby that went wild. So we're actually the other National Bigfoot Research Group, not the BFRO, the other one, Squatch America. We have over 100 investigators across the United States, and we have a website that people can submit reports to. And Hannah and I actually live full-time in an RV and travel all over the United States to follow up on Bigfoot reports and do investigations and things like that. We're just kind of a National Bigfoot Research Group.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And I was watching some of your videos, and you actually are looking for team members around the nation. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are. We're still actively looking for team members, because we get reports, and though we do travel, we can't crisscross the United States 100 times a year, so
right.
So what we need people to be investigators for our group to help follow up and stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how did this start? As far as what piqued your interest? How'd you get interested?
Okay.
Well, you go, because you're where it started.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay. Wow.
No. Actually, what got me into it, I was always kind of interested in the Bigfoot thing when I was a kid, growing up. And I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon. And actually, my house I lived in was less than 15 miles from where the Freeman film was filmed.
Oh, wow.
So
nice.
I grew up with the Bigfoot legend,
Mm-hmm.
But what really got me into it is I spent 10 years in the military. Then I got out, and
Thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you very much. We're big supporters. Love that. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. And that's all right. No, and so then I took my GI Bill and I went to college, and I got a degree in anthropology. And my expertise was in Native American culture. So I worked with a couple different universities, and I worked with a few different tribes that I was actually their archaeologist and anthropologist for like the Miwok tribe in Central California. But when I started working with the tribes, I started hearing their Bigfoot legends, and they were telling me, their stories, and I started finding pictographs on rocks. And I was, that's kind of what I did. So I was able to, interpret them, because that's what I learned to do. So as I started getting really interested in that Bigfoot legend, because I found out it was a lot older than the Patterson film. It's a lot older than Jerry Crew, and so that's what kind of got me into it. And then after we moved back to Oregon, and we were teaching school, and I just kind of for fun started a Facebook page in our little local area in Eastern Oregon, just see if there's been any recent Bigfoot sightings.
And you started your little totally free website.
Yes, and I started my little free website for people to submit reports on.
Awesome.
And as soon as that went up, our local newspaper did a little story, and it goes out to about 30 people. It's a little tiny town newspaper. Well, what happened was the AP Newswire picked it up for some reason, and that story ended up in like the LA Times and the New York Times and all over the United States. And my website got crashed with all the people submitting reports to us.
Well,
so it just it ballooned from there.
Went from there.
And then,
what year was that?
That was about 2016
16 or so. Yeah.
Right.
And then in 2018 you had your sighting, which I'm sure you'll share later.
Yeah.
But the rest of the story is 2020. Fast forward to 2020, and we found ourselves deciding whether or not we were going to try and teach choir and drama online, or just say enough with all this nonsense, and that's what we did. And so we had recently sold our home and bought the camper in which we still live as kind of a trial run pre-retirement, and we just decided to cash in all our chips and take a leap of faith and hit the road. So that's what we did.
Wow. Yeah, that's like goals, like retirement goals. My husband's going to retire next year, and I'm like, ooh.
He officially retires in January coming up.
Awesome! Congratulations.
So we launched about 5 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay, but you still work, right? You still have you still got.
Yes, I have a health coaching practice and a remote day job that I can do thanks to Mr. Musk.
Okay, awesome. That's great. We already have a question. Laurie Sue, where is the most active area that you've been to for sightings?
Oh my gosh. It's really hard to answer that question, to be honest. Wherever we go, it's surprising. What we did is we have this big red truck. It's like a parade all by itself, and it's huge. It's got all our Bigfooting equipment on it. It's got a tent. It's got a water shower. It's got its own power system. It says, Squatch America, all Bigfoot Research Group, all inside of it. We cannot, anywhere we go, if we go to a grocery store and go shopping, we'll come out, there'll be 2 or 3 people standing beside the truck waiting to tell me their Bigfoot story. And that's the reason we do that. So we get like hundreds of reports wherever we're at. It's just amazing. As far as currently active places,
Southern Oregon.
We do have a place in Southern Oregon. In fact, it's not too far from where the Patterson film was in California. That was in Northern California, but this is in Southern Oregon, so it's about the same mountain range. But we have an active spot that we have been investigating for 4 years now. We found a set of tracks 4 years ago, and it wasn't just one; it was 3. We found like a mother and 2 children, because the smallest one is like 4 inches long.
Cute.
So we have been interacting. We've never saw them in face to face, but we have found prints every year. We've set out toys and things for them to play with, and in hopes to capturing them on film. We haven't yet, but they have we've interacted with them. I mean, actually we're doing cognitive tests with them, like psychological cognitive tests we put in the woods, like puzzles for them to figure out, and they've been solving them. We do it with stacks of rocks and things for them to take apart and put back together and stuff like that. And we've been doing that for 4 years and having really good results with it. And last year we went back and we found a bunch of cognitive tests put on logs for us to solve.
Wow. That's amazing.
We've been putting out rocks, stacks of rocks for them to play with, right, and rearrange and So they put 500-pound rocks on logs for us to move this year.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You're like,
But
sorry,
so-
but
yeah. So it's Southern Oregon's a pretty good place, at least for us, that we have found that we've been working for 4 years in that area. But I'm not saying that we don't get hundreds of reports in places all over the United States. I mean,
we're currently in New Mexico, in the mountains of southern New Mexico, and it is surprisingly active here. It's like
really?
we were shocked.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I have heard that. Yeah, I have heard that about it's a very like a spiritual, mystical place too, people
Mm-hmm.
say. I've never been there. And I wonder if that kind of adds to, I don't know. But that's, really interesting.
Yeah. So another thing that we've started doing recently is I'm kind of going back to my Native American roots, working with tribes, and we're starting to map tribal reports and things like that, and it takes a while because I've got a little bit of advantage because I've worked with many different tribes, so I've got other tribal members can contact other tribes and say, hey, this guy's okay, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're in southern New Mexico right now, and next week we're going to go do a town hall meeting with the Mescalero Apache Reservation. We're going to go sit down with the entire tribe and collect their stories
Mm-hmm.
and possibly do some investigation, some boots on ground investigation.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because it's very important to establish that connection with the tribes and make sure that so let me see if there's so now let's just get right into the 2018 Bigfoot sighting, because I know that the viewers are going to want to, and the people listening are going to want to hear about that before we.
Okay. So I think my sighting, and I had been doing this for a while, decades,
Yeah.
going out in the woods, and like any, Bigfooter, I copied things I saw on TV. I went out, knocked on trees and whooped and all that stuff. And now that I know that doesn't work. So, so what the advantage we have now is our website where people submit reports. So I got 5 reports in the same week from 5 people that didn't know each other in the same area.
Awesome.
So I was like, okay, there's where I need to be. So I spent quite a few days, going out. I was still working at the time, so I have to go out after work and stuff, and I would hike around, and the weekend came, and I was going to go out and spend all day out in the woods there. And what's kind of interesting thing is my wife had a friend of hers who, her dad was always interested in Bigfoot, and it was his birthday, and she asked if we could take him out Bigfooting, and he had never done it before. He'd never been out in the woods doing this. So I said, okay, and it was a guy I just met that day, and so I took him into the woods with us. So we're hiking this trail in this area, where we got all the reports, and lo and behold, we came across the smell. I've heard many reports. I'd never smelt it myself, but as soon as I smelt that, just from the stories people told me, I understood. Okay, I know what this is. So we're looking around, thick brush everywhere. I couldn't figure out where it was coming from, but then I probably did the dumbest thing anybody could do. I just, off in the woods, I just went, just growled at it.
But you didn't know. Live and
I
learn.
didn't know.
he was just working on gut instincts at that point.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And lo and behold, it growled back at me, and that's when I was able to locate where it came from the sound, and it was moving. So it was 200 feet away down this hill, and I had this little opening in the brush where I saw this face rocking side by side like this, looking at me.
Oh wow!
And I had my 35 millimeter camera on a holster. I had a shoulder holster for it, so I could just pull it up. So I just pulled it up, and I got one shot off, and then I heard, as soon as I clicked the camera, I heard this whistle off in the woods, and it turned and just kind of vanished out of that little opening. So I had like a 3-second encounter, and so
that's still
yeah, I was lucky to get the photo. I do have the photo. But I
came racing home.
Yeah. Yeah, I came racing home.
I was not with him.
Yeah.
Wow.
He came racing home. He got home about midnight, 1 a.m, and he come charging up. I was long since, dead asleep. And
yeah.
he come charging up and throws on the bedroom light. You gotta come see what I got.
Wow.
And that's actually kind of what started my journey. It's like, oh, maybe this is more than just a fun game you're playing when you go out in the woods.
This is that's a real thing. Hi,
like,
Michelle.
yeah.
What do you recall about him? What did he look like? I mean, do you think it was a boy, girl, or did you have no idea?
I have no idea on the sex of it, but coming from my anthropology and archaeology background, we actually went back up there and spent 3 days there and camped out. And I examined every stick, every twig, everything around that whole area. We did find the footprints where they were standing. So not only did I get the photo, I got the footprints. But when I went down and we found the footprints, we found 9-inch footprints with 16-inch footprints next to them. And I had only seen the one. There was another one behind it that I never saw. So we cast the prints. We set up a tripod with a laser on it where I was standing with my camera in the exact spot. We shot a laser down through the trees, so we were able to measure the height of where its footprints were. So I knew exactly where it was. So the one I saw was 6 foot tall. So I think it was the 9-inch footprints. It was the smaller one, and the bigger one was behind it. And then years later, we ran across a gentleman who was an expert on video or picture enhancing photos and things like that. They enhanced the photo, and lo and behold, there was a big face looking at me from behind the little one. So I actually got both of them in my photo.
Happiest accident ever.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Yes. Wow.
So it was an adult and a juvenile. So,
wow. That's just, so the juvenile was the one that was peeking at
looking at me. Yeah.
Making all the ruckus, causing all the disruption.
Which I think is in most cases of the Bigfoot encounters are juveniles messing up, I think.
Yes. Wow, that's so cool. What did they do you have any, can you give us a description, like what color skin? Did it have hair on its face? Did it hair on its spot? I mean, I know
the juvenile was his face wasn't very hairy, to be honest with you. It was more like almost a chimpanzee type face because it was young. Okay. They were brown, kind of a light brown color, which is common for most of the reports in that area. I noticed from the reports we get around the country, they're different colors, and like up in northern Washington. Aren't you glad I didn't say Washington? I'm working on that. Okay. Yeah, my family are hillbilly Cajuns, so I know.
Well, I live in Washington, and there's a lot of people that say Washington.
Okay.
Doesn't it just drive you nuts? Because I grew up in Washington. My mother said Washington, so it's like
yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, they're black. They're a lot of reports are black and gray.
Yes.
And, so anyway, that's
and in New England they tend to be. I think like the further north they go, they get darker, but what I noticed when we were in Washington is the further north you go, the denser the forests are too.
Yes.
So you're going to have a different color palette to blend in with.
Yes. That's and it's incredible to me because I have I'm in a habituation situation here at our house in Washington State, and I mean they were here, you know, long before we were, and I am just amazed that, like you said, the color palette, there's black ones, there's brown, there's auburn. I've seen a white one, you know, cream color, some that look green, which I'm sure they're just taking, you know, the appearance of the foliage around them is what it is. But that's really cool. So then that's what really, Hannah, that's what you're like, oh, this is something that
it definitely started cracking open because I had never given Bigfoot another thought beyond it's what he likes to do for fun. You do you, boo, I'll do me. You know, knock yourself out. But that's when I started going out with him more often and just discovering what was out there. So by the time 2020 rolled around, I was in a much different place to say, yes, let's make this full-time thing work. I was a little more excited. Actually, it was my idea at that point in time.
Awesome. And you two really you travel around, like we said, not only investigating, you're speakers at many conferences. How did you kind of get into that? I mean, I guess just word was getting around.
Well, we hosted your first one was in wasn't it in 2018?
It was.
It was the one down in Southern Oregon, that one that you went to with Pete.
Oh, in Cave Junction.
Yeah. He did his first. He was just, you know, because Travel Oregon did a little documentary on him.
Oh, nice.
And put it up on their site.
Yeah, after my sighting, and then we had a newspaper article about that too. The Travel Oregon wanted to entice people to travel to Oregon to see Bigfoot, so they did a little documentary on me, and that was posted all you know, nationwide on all the travel whatever.
So that got him his first invitation to a little Podunkville Bigfoot festival. That it was their first year and they haven't had one since.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went there, and it was me and Shane Corson from the Olympic Project. Were the guest speakers there, and then we put on our own, and we invited Dr. Jeff Meldrum to come to ours, and then
that just started the networking.
Yes.
And then last year we just did 14.
We've done 14 in 2024. I'm exhausted.
Oh wow. I bet. Oh my gosh. Was it kind of all across the country?
It was in the Pacific Northwest.
Mostly in the Pacific Northwest. We did. Yeah, we were booked at 14. We've done like some of the bigger ones like Squatch Fest and stuff like that. And when people found out that I have an anthropological background, just like Dr. Jeff does, you know, they started wanting us to come and talk, because we have a very scientific, you know, take on all this stuff.
Yeah,
that's really wow, invaluable in this field. That's fantastic. Let's see. Is there? Let's see. What else did I want to? Could you tell us about speaking of your time spent in the service, and like we had said, you are a veteran. Can you tell us about your program that you have to help veterans and help take them? I just think that's so amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So this actually stemmed from one of those conferences, and what happened was we had a booth set up at a conference, and across from our booth was this group called the Fallen Outdoors, and I had no idea what they were. This was what, 5-6 years ago?
No, this was like 2 years ago.
I don't do time.
Yeah, I understand.
Time is irrelevant to me.
Yes,
time
isn't real.
Yeah, time and money, both constructs.
Yeah, I guess that's what my husband says. Time and money are both real.
It's true. It's like we play this game with them, and that's all. So before I knew it, he had gone over to check him out, and then 3 hours later, I knew he'd abandoned me at our booth because they're just fangirling over each other.
So come to find out, I met this group called the Fallen Outdoors, and the guy who had actually started it, it's a nationwide group. The guy who started it was at that booth that day, and we got to talking, and I found out we're from the same hometown. We graduated from the same high school,
20 years apart.
20 years apart, because I'm way older than him. But you know, which is very rare because my graduating class is 25 kids. You know, small town in the middle of nowhere in Oregon.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun to meet somebody from my hometown. And what the Fallen Outdoors is, that's the name of the group, the Fallen Outdoors. And what happened to him was he was in Afghanistan, and he had a couple of his battle buddies he was stationed with. Was from back east, like New Jersey and New York, and they had never went hunting or fishing or anything in their entire life, you know. And he said, well, when we get back, I'll bring you to Oregon and we'll go deer hunting, and I'll teach you what that's like. But neither of his buddies made it back. So what happened when he got back, he decided, and he got out of the military, he decided to start the Fallen Outdoors to help veterans with PTSD and veterans who had never been hunting and fishing before, to take them out hunting and fishing. And now they have like the track driven wheelchairs for disabled vets, so they can get them into the woods. And
they're starting a brand new initiative to involve more female veterans. So, you know, different types of activities that will be more attractive to, let's say, or to veterans who don't necessarily want to go out and bring home ticks.
Yeah.
So they're growing really fast.
Yeah. So yeah, it is growing really fast. And when we started talking, you know, he thought it was kind of interesting because he grew up in the Bigfoot area I did. He thought it'd be interesting if some vets might wanted to go out and go Bigfooting. And I said, sure. So we're now the Bigfoot division of the Fallen Outdoors. So we schedule outings for veterans to go out and with us, you know.
Ideally, we have four outings a year. Wildfires have really made
we had to cancel one because of fires last year, but you know, and I did 2 tours in Iraq during Desert Storm and Desert Shield. And so it's great for vets to get together because we have a language, you know, that we speak to each other. And a lot of people in America don't realize that 22 veterans a day take their own lives due to PTSD and stuff. And we're trying to prevent that. So so what we do is you can donate to the Fallen Outdoors. They ask that you donate $22 a month. And what we do is, from our YouTube channel and our Patreon and all the stuff that we collect, we put it into the Fallen Outdoors, and for us to be able to take vets out and go Bigfooting. And we've taken vets out and changed their minds. I've had really skeptical vets about Bigfoot stuff, and and we've had some vets going, wow, I guess there's more to this than I thought, you know.
This is too real.
Yeah.
So I thought you were helping the PTSD.
Yeah, just creating a whole other trigger. So I just want to make sure that I put this in the permanent comments. So it's the Fallen Outdoors. How do you get in? How do people look into that and get in
it's the fallenoutdoors.org.
Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you. Yeah, and that's just so admirable that you're involved in that. Wow. Thank you again. Wow.
Well, you know, it's kind of a principle for us because, as you well know, Bigfooting doesn't make you rich.
Oh yeah.
And I really find it hilarious that people say, "Oh, you're YouTubers. I'll bet you have a lot of money."
Yeah.
You really don't know the truth of it, do you? Yeah.
Right. No, zero dollars.
You know, taking
expenses, yes, zero coming in, zero.
Taking the initiative to pay things forward, you know, to pay things forward, both in person and with our pocketbook, really keeps us in a space of abundance and not scarcity. And that's actually that's part of our own coping skill with our lifestyle, because it would be I don't know why people are calling me. People are calling me. Anyway, so it's actually it's very much a discipline for us, much like some people donate to their church every month or whatever. We donate to this veterans organization as our act of faith to we're going to bless other people through our endeavors.
That is just wonderful. Let's talk about your investigation style. Are there tools that you use?
Yeah. Like I said, we take our truck out, and that's been a 5-6 year old long project that I've been working on. Our truck has a tent on it and stuff. Now, my style is a little bit different than, we don't go traipsing through the woods or knocking on trees or whooping and stuff like that. We basically go camping, and we just sit and camp and let them come to us. And it's worked amazingly. So we go into areas where we've got lots of reports. That's one thing the little advantage that we have. So we go into those areas and we set up the camp. Now the truck has infrared cameras all the way around it. It has a really high-tech audio recording system. I've actually, with our recording system, I picked up train whistles on our recordings from 35 miles away over 2 hills. So the truck is constantly recording stuff. And then of course we have the infrared binoculars. I've got, the FLIR, the thermal cameras and all that stuff that we go into the woods with. But we just sit and camp and talk and let them come to us. Now, a lot of times we do set up, we just got sponsored by a brand new trail camera company. So these new trail cameras are thermal. They're not infrared, so they pick up heat. So they don't broadcast anything. They only take pictures of whatever that's warmer than the environment that walks in front of them.
Nice.
So we're testing those right now. We set up just those, like you can get from the 99-cent store, those motion LED lights. When something walks in front of them, they come on. We put those way out away from our campsite, facing back towards us. So if something walks in front of it, those lights will come on, and that's our warning system. And then we'll whip out the thermals. And I've got a couple. I do have a thermal shot that we got from doing that. And other than that, we put out a lot of different, like I said, the tests, the rock stacks. And we put out a lot of Fisher Price toys for them out there.
Oh, great. That's
yeah.
And you get success with that, and you've had success with that. What kind of do you find that what are they moving them around, or what are
okay. All right. So that toy that you can get for toddlers that has the rings on it, and they're different sizes, and they have a little stick, and they stack them up on there, right?
Yes.
That's actually a psychological cognitive test called the Hanoi Tower. So in order to put that together in the right order, you have to have, she's actually more versed in this than I am. She has a degree, she has background in psychology. So that helps me a lot. But
helps me a lot too.
So what that does is you have to have pre-planning. You have to think out, you have to be able to pre-plan to put this together with.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we buy those, we go out and we put 2 of them out. We put one taken apart and one together. And then we see if they can copy what the other one looks like.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm going to try that. That's so cool.
And then sometimes we've had them just, take the rings and hide them from us. We had the last time we were putting out, they took one of the rings, and it was on a stump, and there was a little hole underneath the stump that they had taken and put it under there and hid it from us. And so we run into stuff like that all the time.
That is so cool. That's a great idea. I've never heard of this, the cognitive testing. I just absolutely love that. That's so cool, guys. Wow. And getting that, yeah, because people do different things, but
Mm-hmm.
that's, so what are your things, what is something that you would suggest for new researchers or for researchers that just haven't had any sort of success? What are your, like do this and don't do that? What would you say?
Don't knock and whoop.
Don't knock and whoop.
Yeah.
In fact, to be honest with you, we have in my working with tribes, one of the things that they specifically talk about is that if you hear tree knocks, that's them warning you to leave. And this is a Native American legend that I have found in like 3 different tribes that have told me this story. And if that's knocking is them asking you to leave, you knock back, you're asking them to leave, or you're challenging them.
Okay. Wow.
So
yeah.
So that's one of the things that we've learned, and from the recordings that we've got from whoops and stuff over the years, we've got 2 that we've recorded, and we always send our stuff to David Ellis, who's kind of the Bigfoot audio guy, and to get him verified, and we've had 2 of them that he said, yeah, that's definitely within the range, and some of the stuff that we've learned, and Hannah can tell you this story, this is pretty awesome, about the vocals, is the range that the vocals have. So if we're whooping at them, they know that we're
faking it.
We're faking it. And you can tell them why.
Well, so in addition to psychology and clinical work, I also have a background in classical music, because I don't know, therapists like it's our self-care, right?
Yeah.
But in 2021, we had one of my musical grad school professors, who was a professor of voice and choral studies and vocal, he kind of geeks out on the vocal apparatus of the human being. But we actually had him on for one of our shows, and we played a variety of Bigfoot vocalizations for him. And he was the first one who said that can't possibly be human, because that howl there just covered 5 octaves, and the human vocal apparatus can only manage 3. So you're talking about you've got longer vocal folds that can pass more air through them than we can. And he said there, and then we played for him some of the whistle sounds and some of the, he said there are a few tribes of humans left on the planet, the ones that are, the most remote, the most untouched by modernity, that can still make these kinds of sounds, but they're primitive, because they have not, we limit ourselves. We've evolved culturally and biologically to speak and to communicate in a certain way. But these more primitive, and I use that word because I don't have another one, but I don't
I get it.
I don't truly think they're primitive, but
yes.
But these other untouched tribes can still do that. So they're more ancient than we are. They've retained their ancient cultural and physical development, and so they are using more of the guttural communication rather than linguistic. That's it. They're more guttural than we are. So, but he said that is not something that a normal human being can do.
Wow. So, yeah, that's very interesting.
And as far as I know, we are the only people who have done a show with a choir professor.
I love that. Is that on your YouTube channel?
It is.
Oh, gosh, I gotta check that out.
I want to say it's about probably April of 2021.
Wow.
So,
have you guys ever heard of what, like a Sasquatch that sounds so human? Have you ever gotten a recording of that?
We've gotten the samurai chatter.
Yeah, we've recorded that, but
I just have one, gosh, and I mean it shows up a couple times, and I did have it run through a spectrogram, And so it showed that it was not human. And then another guy, that's Tom Cantrell, who's been researching for over 60 years, he said, oh, that's definitely a young, like a teenage. And it just blows me away how human sounding it is, but I know that it's impossible anyway. So let's see. What
Well,
else
I've heard that they're very good mimics. So if they're mimicking us,
yes, that's what I'm thinking.
And it mimicked him.
Yeah.
Did it?
Well, when I growled at it, when it growled back at me, it actually mimicked what I sounded like when I.
Whoa. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Amy's asking, Amy WC, she's saying a samurai. If you want to just explain what you're talking about, since she's must not be aware of the samurai sounds.
Okay. Yeah. So there's this speculation that they do have a language, and it sounds very Asian from their language, and so we call it samurai chatter because and we've got the recordings of it. You can look it up online, look up Bigfoot samurai chatter, and you can hear what it sounds like yourself. But so that's why we call it samurai channel, because it sounds very Asian, their language to us.
Yes. Right. And that's what Amy's or Lorna is saying. Yeah, Amy, they are talking about the recording of Bigfoot that is called Samurai Sounds. And so that just kind of gave the nickname. Ron Moorhead had, I believe, initially had, he got the greatest. But yeah, so check that out, Amy. Does anybody have any questions for our guests? Because they're right solid at an hour. We're not there. We're only 45 minutes in, but I want to make sure that if anybody has any questions, that you do get them in. And
we do have his sighting.
I do have my sighting picture I can share, I think.
Oh, great. Oh my gosh, fantastic. Yeah, let me bring that up.
Okay.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh. So
I actually am seeing a third one in there.
Don't go there, but yeah.
It's possible.
I do. Yeah. It's like, so the one you saw was like right in the middle, right?
Right in the middle, looking straight at me.
Yeah. And then is there one below maybe?
There's one above.
No, I can zoom this in, but
it gets worse as
that's the juvenile, and that's the adult's face.
And then the possible third one is right up above it, right there.
Yes, right there. You can see. I can see that. I mean, you can see that, like the widow's peak that they, that like, and then the nose. That is fantastic.
They all have the same widow's peak, isn't it adorable?
Gosh, wow, that's just fantastic.
So
wow.
Prospecting is asking if we come east.
Yes.
Why don't we share what our plans are? Knock on wood, because we've made plans, and of course, you want to make God laugh, make some plans.
Yeah, right. I'll take
it. But so far, we have some plans for 2020 for the rest of this year in 2025. So
we're actually going to we're going to spend the winter squatching in Texas, because that's the wise thing to do. But no, we have a lot of Bigfoot friends and investigators that are in Texas, and we do like spending time in Texas. In fact, a lot of people don't realize this. There's more Bigfoot reports in Eastern Texas than there is in the Pacific Northwest.
Wow. You guys know Grizzly, the owner of the channel. He just is spending some time in Texas, and he was just telling us last night about all the reports, and I had heard that, but so he'll be there. Maybe you guys can hook up somehow. Wow, that's Are there areas of Texas that you would say are more active than?
Yeah, absolutely. East Texas, there's the Sam Houston Forest. It's called the Big Thicket in Texas, and but see, that's on the border of Louisiana. So where that area is, you can count. Jefferson, Texas has a lot of Bigfoot reports in it, because it's down there in the bayou.
In fact,
it's only like 10 miles from Falk, Arkansas.
Monster. Yeah. Wow.
So
we will be in Jefferson for the East Texas Bigfoot Conference.
Yeah, we'll be speaking there
in October.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But so Yeah, the eastern Texas is where we're going to be mostly, kind of north of Houston.
And then and so we're going to be piddling around Texas, that area for the winter. Is I don't want to go buy a winter coat. I just don't want to.
That sounds nice.
And then we're going to start working our way north for north to
Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
So in May, we're speaking at a Bigfoot conference in Wisconsin that's put on by Barnaby Jones and Caps. So we're going to be doing that one, and then we're going to be working our way east. So
to New England.
We have spent 2 summers in Maine, bigfooting in North Maine woods. And where nobody lives. It's
that kind of place.
So we're headed to Maine for the summer to do a lot of investigation up there.
And we'll be, obviously, focusing on not just Maine, but New Hampshire is right there in Vermont and Massachusetts. And so, and then after that, we could be working our way down towards Florida.
Yeah, because we have never looked for the skunk ape yet. So we're headed there. We might do that.
Oh, there's some, oh gosh. Yeah, you'll have to look up Kathy Westerman. Are you familiar with her?
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
They, I'll send you her information. They get the most incredible, and they're more like, not really skunk apes. They're more Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
Okay, good.
And they get just all the time. Amazing. Let's see. What else did I? Okay. So how can people find you? Tell us the different ways that they can find you.
Different ways. Well, you can find us. We have our website, squatchamerica.com. That's where you can go to submit reports. Or
don't expect for it to be current.
Yeah.
We're looking for a volunteer WordPress expert.
All right. Well, here you go. Yes.
Anyone wants to be, if we got any geeky, web designing Squatch enthusiasts, we will be happy to bring you on the team.
But so we've got that. We're also, if you want to become part of our organization and be an investigator somewhere in the United States, you can email us at squatchamerica@gmail.com. Okay. And then we have our YouTube channel. It's surprisingly called Squatch America.
That's surprising. That's great, though. That is
you can look up Squatch America on YouTube. And what else do we have?
You have the Facebook page.
We got a Facebook page.
Yeah.
We've got an X page,
Facebook and YouTube are primarily where we do our social media stuff.
Yeah, and we're on Rumble too, if you want to.
Yeah, please go subscribe to Rumble because YouTube.
Yeah.
So Prospecting is asking, let us know. Oh, he's saying, let us know when you come to the Southeast. I believe he's in Alabama, in that area.
I read that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
hey, one of the nicest RV parks we ever stayed at was in Alabama.
Yeah, we've actually spent some time in Alabama. Yeah.
So we're thinking probably after next summer we're going to head down that way.
Okay.
I have wanted to winter in Florida for years. So.
Yeah. Gosh.
We're going to make it to Florida yet.
Nice. Very
nice. And just so all of our Southern friends know, I am a proud Anderson Trojan. My favorite grad school alma mater is Anderson University in Anderson, South Carolina.
Nice. Very nice. That's great. What is your home? So you're Scott, your home Oregon, your home state, or
that's where I was born and raised. Was in Oregon. She was raised in Yakima, Washington.
Oh, okay.
I left there really quick.
But so that's our home state. That's where we grew up, and that's where we're from. But technically we live in South Dakota now.
Okay.
Because they got a really good deal for people who live in RVs set
up
in that state.
Good to know. Very good
Yeah. So all the mail and stuff goes to a warehouse there, and they forward it to us wherever we're at.
Very cool.
So technically that's where we live,
Gotcha.
but we actually do not own a home. We live full time in
This
this
is it.
RV and travel all over the United States.
We are professionally homeless.
Yes.
But you guys, wow, you really have it going on. This is just incredible. Yeah, so I again thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, I just learned so much. I'm trying to think because I feel like I had some questions, but I'll just send them on to you.
Okay.
This has been so fascinating. I just love how you go about your scientific method of research. It's just, and wow, so cool.
Well, our moniker, our motto at Squatch America is our job is to investigate the unexplained, not explain the uninvestigated, and that takes a lot of different forms. And the stories that we get from people is a big part of that, because putting together doing the qualitative research, that listening to their stories and seeing what are the similarities, what are the patterns we're seeing, that's a huge part of what we do is, depending on the political and scientific climate, not that kind of political, I meant the politics involved with science and research.
Yes. Yes.
We know they're out there.
Yeah.
Will they ever be formally classified? That's not up to us. That's beyond our pay grade. So now that, those of us who know that they're out there, we say we're not trying to prove their existence.
Yes, I feel the same way.
What we want to find out is more about them. How do they live? What are their family units? Are they a herd? Are they a small clan? What's the gestation period? What's their, all these different things, so that we can, just cultivate curiosity about the species.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we do listen to people's reports, no matter what they are. We listen to thousands of reports. Being a cultural anthropologist is what I'm using, is taking the information from these reports and similarities between people's reports. If we get enough similarities, I saw Bigfoot do this, and I hear that 100 times, that must be something they do,
Yes.
So we're doing that to create a cultural narrative of how these things live in the woods.
Yeah.
Great. Wow.
So Amy, I want to say, Amy says that we have such a sense of adventure. We're freaking insane.
Yeah, Amy said used to do a lot of that, is everything to RV with people you like. That's great. That's awesome. I wanted to say something. I like to ask people, what is your opinion of what they are? What do you think?
Oh, okay. Who do you want to hear from?
You just unlocked.
There are a couple different rabbit holes.
Well, isn't that the truth? The more you know, the more less you know,
so,
I guess.
So my opinion, and this is my thought, this is just where I'm coming from. At any given time in human history, now you're going to get a bunch of anthropological words. Okay. So at any time in human history, there've been 3 to 4 types of humans living together at the same time. That notion of evolution where the monkey turned, that's not how it works. There's always been humans, and we've discovered that through DNA now. But there have been different types of humans, because say you got a group in Africa, and
Cliff notes, honey. Cliff notes.
Okay. And their population gets so big, and then some have to move to Europe, because the area can't sustain that population. So when they're in Europe 1,000 years, their bodies change. So they look different, but they're the same people. If you think about that, they're human. So at any given time in human history, there've been 3 to 5 types of humans living together at the same time. So we know that Neanderthal man and Homo sapiens, see, I'm not going to go through the whole list, that Neanderthal man and Homo sapiens us lived together in France at the same time. 2 different types of humans. A lot of people don't realize this, that Neanderthal is still alive. Did you know that?
Yes. There's DNA evidence.
Yeah.
Of that.
So.
Oh really? Oh wow, that's so cool.
So yeah, I'm Acadian French. Come from the Acadian region of France, where Neanderthals are from. That's where my family's from. You guys call us Cajuns, but we're known as Acadian French people. So that's why Cajuns are a little off, because we're about 3 to 4% Neanderthal.
Wow,
so
that's so cool. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. So and it's been passed around through the whole human.
Anyway, he's 3% Neanderthal.
I'm 3%
wow,
that's
Neanderthal.
what he's getting
That's
to.
really cool. Wow.
You're gonna purposely cut me off here.
Yeah, no. So why is today any different? If there's always been 2 to 3 types of humans living together at the same time, why is today different? It's not. These things walk upright. They have 10 toes, 10 fingers. They have small canine teeth, because I've seen them myself. They're another human that just hasn't went extinct yet. That's my theory, and I'm kind of stuck on that until we can prove otherwise. But I think they're another human.
And since this is a Bigfoot and then some type of channel, I will just say that, and so have all the other doors, and I am not beyond considering the impact of off-world life and monkeying around with the original DNA that was here. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I wanted to tell, Pyro, we're going to be in the Texoma area for quite a while, so contact us. You know how to get a hold of us.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for joining us. Please, everybody, go to their YouTube channel, their Facebook page, whatever. And please, if you can support the fallenoutdoors.org. That's so great. They have a question. What is Bigfoot called in France? Do you know?
Loup-garou.
Oh, okay.
Loup-garou.
There you go.
It's actually it's equated with that word means like a lot of people equate that with vampire or werewolves, but actually in French it means just this
big hairy thing.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
Loup-garou.
All right. Well, thank you. Great. All right. Well, thank you guys again. I'll have to have you on the show when you get some more free time, because I'd love to explore that into you're saying about like the different humans, and I think that's super interesting. So thank you again. Thanks everybody. So from coast to coast and around the world, thanks again for joining us, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.